Great. Um, we are still narrowing down the times for the final technical session with a woodworker and with our own Heidi Marsh to answer technical questions on furniture restorations, how to work with veneer, how to prep the wood, and so on. We are still narrowing it down, and from June 7th to June 6th. And we also will be hosting a networking session at our space in Soto, Seattle on June 9th. More details to come, and we'll share those details in the email, in the follow-up email. Without further ado, I want to introduce our own Heidi Marsh. Heidi is a furniture and abstract plaster artist from Mukilteo, Washington. Her business, Revive Heart and Home, helps people learn the basics of furniture painting so they can decorate their homes and in eco-friendly ways, while also offering her followers spiritual inspiration for the heart. In addition to basics, Heidi specializes in 18th and 17th century European finishes. Heidi also teaches furniture painting to volunteers at Furniture Repair Bank. Thank you so much, Heidi. Thank you for joining us, and please take over. And I will admit additional people who are waiting in the room.
Fantastic. Thank you, Xenia. Hi, everyone, and thank you for that very generous introduction. I also have an undergrad in business administration and marketing and graduate coursework in entrepreneurship. So marketing is my jam, in addition to furniture painting. So I thought we get a lot of questions around marketing. And so I thought we would take this opportunity to do a really high level basic marketing 101 for furniture artists, flippers, hobbyists, and so forth. If you are interested in taking this to the next level with your business, this class is for you. So you should have received earlier today an email from us with an attachment to a worksheet, two worksheets on competitive analysis and the 5 P's of marketing. And I have also put a link to it in the chat in case you can't find it or you are looking for it on the replay. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And if I can do that right here, and we will get going. Okay, so this presentation is Furniture Artist Marketing 101 by myself, and there's my business, Revive, and Furniture Repair Bank together in the house tonight. All right, so let's see. Okay, so I am just going to assume for the purposes of this presentation that this marketing is new to you. And so I'm going to go over kind of the basics, like I said, the high levels. And so you can start thinking strategically about your marketing efforts. Now, you can get an entire degree in marketing, and there are many, many rabbit holes you can go down with social media specialty. I mean, any way you slice it and dice it, there are specialty courses, and obviously we don't have time for all of that tonight. And if that is of interest to you, please let us know, and we can, if there's enough interest, we can always create a special session. But for now, we're gonna focus on high level strategy. So that begins with the 5 P's of marketing, and those 5 P's are your product, your people. That basically, who are you going to sell it to, the place, where are you going to sell it, your price, which is self-explanatory, and your promotion. How are you going to market it to your particular target market? So we're going to be going over each of the 5 P's, and we will start with your product. So what do you sell? Now, I know that might seem like really a basic question, but when you think about it, I really want you to take a minute or two. This would be a great time to pull out those worksheets or notebook. And I want you to think about what is it that you sell. Now, any good business that is an entrepreneurship, a solopreneurship in this space is going to, at the end of the day, when you are fully running and functional, have anywhere from 6 to 8 different revenue streams to supplement your business so that you are not dependent on just one, i.e., let's say furniture. And so if something goes awry in the market or something that's seasonal, you have something else to fall back on. Now, you don't start with all 6 or 8 products. You start with 1, and then you move to 3, and then you move to 5, and then you move to 6 to 8. So if furniture painting is your mainstay, then that is going to be your first product. So go ahead and write that down. But I want you to take a minute to brainstorm, and I will throw in some ideas here, but take a minute to brainstorm what other things that you could sell in the future that you might want to add to your product mix. So I am going to throw out a couple of ideas that you might want to jot down. So if you are a furniture painter, paint might be something else you want to sell through an affiliate program. Supplies, swag. There was a furniture painter years ago who had a whole business line selling t-shirts and stickers and all sorts of funny things. I still have them. They're great. So there's swag. There is hardware. There are courses like we're doing tonight. So if you want to just take a minute or so and write down some other ideas for things that you might sell. There are no bad ideas at this point, just write them down and then we will hone them later based on your specific marketing strategy. So take 30 seconds to a minute to write down some of the things that you have. And if you feel like sharing them, I won't call on anybody live just because this is being recorded. But if you want to throw some of those ideas in the chat, that would be fantastic. Okay, so if there's anybody who wants to share any of those ideas, let me know, put it in the chat. But I'll just kind of share from my perspective what I include in my product mix. Now, granted, I have taken a hiatus from selling furniture because I'm teaching right now and I'm actually in grad school. So that is a whole other story. But for now, what I used to do, I would sell my furniture, and I actually had 2 subcategories of that, which I think is going to be important to differentiate. And that is the difference between commissions and pieces that you just do and then put on the marketplace. Different kind of clients, different strategy altogether. So if you do both or you want to do both, I would put those as separate products. I'm also an affiliate for a paint and supply company. I am an affiliate for Amy Howard at Home. My personal preference, I've tried all sorts of paints, and by far and away, hers, in my opinion, are the best, particularly for the type of finishes that I do. So there's that. I also was in the development of a course, and then I'm now doing this for a nonprofit, so I'm not doing that, but that is something that was in development, so you can get money from coursework. And then I also had a store location for a while, and that was an entire different beast, but I had small decor items in addition to my furniture. So I I kind of counted that as a separate product altogether. And then I don't have swag, but I would love to someday. And then there are different, there is income from teaching. And I mean, different from like classes or a course. I have a YouTube channel that I started to build in 2018. I really worked at it for like a good year and a half and got to, actually it was later than that. It was I started my business in, anyway, it was like 2020, 2021. I started my YouTube channel, really worked at it during the pandemic when everybody was online doing this sort of thing, and got past 1,000 subscribers. So started earning money that way. And then decided to take a different direction in my life in grad school, so that I have, again, not paid a whole lot of attention to that. But there are different opportunities for income through ads and affiliate sales through there. So that's what I did. That's some additional things that you can think about as well. So once you kind of have that figured out, I would go ahead and write that down on your spreadsheet, on your worksheet, in the left-hand column, in the green column that says product. And then we'll move on to the next P. Okay, people. So who is your target market? Now, I realize we have a lot of people here from Washington State, but we may have people watching from other areas of the state, not in the Seattle metro area, or other areas of the country, or even other areas of the world, because this is something that people do all over. And depending on the style that you do, is going to determine who your target market is. So let me actually take a step back and talk to you a little bit about style. Now, I just, from a personal standpoint, I struggled for many years trying to find my signature look. I tried basic furniture painting. I tried all of the ombre stuff and the decals for a while, or the transfers. That was really popular. I tried boho chic. I tried really modern, mid-century modern stuff. But where my heart does a pitter patter is in old 18th and 19th century European finishes. So like old world milk paint, crusty, chippy, something you would see in an antique store. And that is how I honed down, and I ended up going very, very deep into that expertise. I studied in Italy. I've studied under a master artisan and really honed my craft. And so what I really encourage you to do is, before you figure out who your target market is and your people, figure out what that style is. And that might take some time. It may take some experimenting. If you don't care, then maybe you kind of figure out who is in your market, what the people in your local area really, really like. Maybe it's farmhouse, maybe it's not, maybe it's more metro and more modern. But I would just, if you don't know, take some time flipping through Pinterest, flipping through magazines, and see what just draws your eye. Because there is always a market for everything. Now, there might be a larger market for mid-century modern right now, or there might be a smaller market for farmhouse. But at the end of the day, I really encourage you to do what you feel passionate about. And maybe you have a mix. So one is a larger moneymaker for you, and one is more that you do because it ignites your soul. But just take some time to find out what it is that you really like, that you really will get you up in the morning to paint or refinish, and what also has a market. So that might take some time, and I just encourage you to take your time rather than spinning your wheels and trying to get something out there just for the sake of it. So that being said, once you have your own style defined, specifically for furniture painting or refinishing, go back down through that list of your products, and I want you to think about the type of person that is going to buy that product. Now, this is where a little market research might come in. What I know this might sound weird, but I would go to, when I started out, my style was kind of shabby chic, farmhouse a little bit. And I would go to a lot of these like junk hunt shows, and I would just sit with a glass of wine in the corner and I would watch who was buying what. And I started to just profile those people, and looked at their age, their gender. Obviously, I'm not going to know their income, but you can kind of gather some things based on just simple observation. I also looked at like, who is in groups. So you can find Facebook groups for any type of style out there. Like there are farmhouse groups, there are mid-century modern groups. Become members of those groups, get to know the people in those groups who are buying things, who are painting things, who are generally interested in that topic, and find out who your perfect person is. And then you can start doing there are just amazing things you can do with Facebook Marketplace, and not Marketplace, with Meta on the back end. If you have a business account, you can find all sorts of things out about people and their, if they like a certain, and that's another one of those deep dive topics, but you can find out based on age and gender, like what their income is and what kinds of other sites that they listen to. So or look at. So for instance, when I look at my local Seattle area, I know that women between the ages of 45 and 55 in upper middle class homes, one of the number one websites they go to is Walmart, which was very interesting to me, and the Seattle Seahawks. So great pieces of information. Not that I'm going to paint a Seahawks piece of furniture, which I have done before, but it's very, very important for you to do your research. So what I like to do is create personas or just kind of people. So I will literally draw a picture of my target market for my furniture pieces. So I will say who, and then I will talk about their head. What is their education? What are their talents? What kind of knowledge do they have? Are they hobby DIYers but need a little bit more extra information? Are they people who just want to throw money at it and say, this is not my skill set, like you go do it? Then I talk about their hands. What's their occupation? Are they full-time career women? Are they stay-at-home moms? Who is it that I'm talking about? And then their heart. What are their motivations? What are their values? What do they care about? I mean, a lot of people in this space want something to be eco-friendly, but what I found out just through my own trial and error that level of interest varies greatly based on their age. So the younger that people are, the more they tend to care about the environment. That's just the way it is, at least here. The older that they trend, the more they're interested in aesthetics. So there are all sorts of ways you can get this information, but I just encourage you to take the time to create a persona, and you can even have fun with it. Like I have taken construction paper and printed out little people and drawn and did little magazine cutouts and collages to really personify the person that I am marketing to. So I would just encourage you, at your homework, take your first 1 to 3 products that you want to focus on and create a persona based on the research that you do. Okay, so that is your people. Your next P is your place. This is called channel marketing. Basically, where do you sell? Now, this has gotten significantly more nuanced, and the opportunities abound, which can mean that you get very overwhelmed very quickly. Back in the day when I got my marketing degree, there was the internet.com was just starting out. gives away my age a little bit, but we have so many options to us now for every niche market you could possibly think of. So once you have your product and your personas, now is time to find the area where you are going to sell it. Now, the big first question you have to ask yourself is, do I want to do this on commission? Because that is one, you go to somebody's house or they bring their piece to you. That is going to be a different strategy than if you are making furniture or refinishing furniture and then selling it. So let's briefly talk about commissions. So if you do commissions, there are two basic clients you can do: your everyday end user or the trade. So like interior designers, architects, and so forth. Again, those I would pick one or the other to start off with. And if you are going to be marketing commissions to interior designers, that is going to be one entire strategy, which I have thoughts on for sure. And that might be a whole other segment, but you're going to want to send them samples. Like, the people in the trade are used to going to Atlanta and Las Vegas for market, and they will get they have, their interior design rooms, they've got samples, and then they take those samples to their clients and work with them to figure out what they want. So one strategy there is to create a sample box of your top 5 finishes. You do sample boards, you create pricing sheets, you name your pieces. It's super, super fun. You create a beautiful box with a cover letter, very, very professional, and you send those out to interior designers in your area. And then you develop relationships, you show up at trade shows. You want to work that and become a way to solve a problem for them. So that's my 2 cents on interior designers. Now, if you do commissions for end users, you are going to have to find your clientele, right? So I know lots of people, like, their first thought is, I'm going to go and put out an ad on Facebook Marketplace. Now, let me just caution you against that, because the type of client, now, if you want to do, and we're going to talk about this positioning a little bit later, but if you want to do more really basic things and maybe get your feet wet, that's a great place. But if you really hone your craft and you're going to be selling it for top dollar, Marketplace is not where you want to be, because people will nickel and dime you till the day you die. And there's nothing worse for your artist's soul than to be nickeled and dimed on your very, very, very important and beautiful work. So what you will want to do in that case is devise a digital marketing strategy. Now, we had a course which can be made available to you specifically on digital marketing. That was a little bit geared more towards refinishers, but the principles still apply. And you can really hone your Facebook, Pinterest, it's like all of the social media channels have ways that you can advertise and create a sales funnel, which sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. But once you get those techniques down, you can really just hit the go button and then start getting leads, making those calls, and then ultimately creating furniture. And the good news is, once you start getting going on that, your referral business will pick up. And that's how I ended up getting most of my commissions, is just through referrals. Okay, so that is kind of a high level look at commissions. The next side is when you just want to paint something, you don't want to deal with the end client and their whims and all of that. You just want to create something beautiful and sell it. So where do you sell it? I get this question asked all the time. And I will say again, with Facebook Marketplace, if you want to start out there and just kind of test the waters, that's great. But just please be aware that people are looking for deals there, and you're not going to get what your piece deserves. So I highly recommend thinking outside of the Facebook Marketplace box and going to places like Etsy and Cherish. And there are some, Cherish has recently changed some of their guidelines on what they'll accept, but Etsy is a great place to start. And there are courses on Etsy. I remember taking one, and if that's of interest, I can get those resources for you. But creating a marketplace there that is branded to who you are and what you do, you can really hone in who those pieces get showed to based on hashtags and so forth. And Etsy then brings the clients to you. We had a very famous furniture flipper on earlier in the week. It was Dion Woods, and she got her start on Etsy. I got my start in Etsy. And then once you create and build your base business, then you can move on to your own website with your own SEO and your own marketing with email lists and so forth. But if you haven't started, start on Etsy. It's a great place. Yes, they take a cut, but it is well worth the traffic that they will bring to you. So just one note on that. I always get asked about shipping. And we had, because that seems to be just a huge hurdle for everybody, we have access to people in the shipping industry that do just shipping for furniture artists. And so if you need that information, you can put that in the chat and let me know. And I'm seeing here. Thank you, Laurel, for those great ideas. And we can provide some of that information to you as well as some resources for people who teach you how specifically how to ship furniture, because that is the biggest pain in the butt, if you ask me, of any of it, besides painting the inside of anything. So, okay. So Etsy is a great place to start. And you can also sell on socials. So you can sell Facebook, you can sell, I'm not talking marketplace, I'm talking like live sales. You can have a Facebook shop, you can have an Instagram shop. I just encourage you, that is a little bit more difficult to do because you need an audience, you need followers. If you have a huge following, knock yourself out, do it. But while you take your time to build a social media following, get yourself up on Etsy and link your store, your Etsy store, to your social media accounts. So that's where you should start. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to just go a little more deeply. And I said I would talk to you about your product position. Now, I'm sure if you're from the Seattle area, you are probably familiar with Nordstrom. It's one of my favorite stores. It was my first job in high school, was at Nordstrom. And I spent most of my paycheck there after I got it, in all transparency. Excuse me. Talking too much. Excuse me. Grab some water here. Okay. My friends downstairs bring me some water. So, so there's Nordstrom, and then there is Walmart. And the difference between the two, besides the obvious, is something that we refer to in the marketing world as position. And the access for this grid is price and quality. It can also be quantity, but we're going to talk here about quality. So in the higher the price, the higher the quality, you're going to get these brands over here. You see brand A and B here in this kind of middle blue in the upper right hand quadrant. Those are your Nordstroms. So higher price, higher quality, and that usually corresponds to lower quantity too. Anytime you walk into a Nordstrom store, you will see that it is not jam-packed full of merchandise. It is spread out. There's a lot of space visually, and there is a lot. You only have to sell a few pieces to make the money that your goal at the end of the day. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is your low quality, low price, and those are your Walmarts of the world. This is down here. So that is fast furniture, that is stuff that gets that is low quality, low price, and there's a ton of it. If you ever walk into a Walmart, everything is packed in. There's so much stuff, lots and lots of inventory, and that is where they live on the chart. Now, years ago, the first store I was ever in was with a friend. Her name was Thomasina. And she always would joke. She's like, I'm the Walmart of the furniture industry and you're the Nordstrom. Because all she did was dressers. And she just pumped out those dressers. She'd slap a paint coat on them. I mean, she'd do a good job, but she would just do a lot. And they would fly out of her shop like this. But they were selling for $100, $150 a piece. Now, my pieces were selling for $2,000 a piece, and it would sit there a lot longer. But it only took me one to make up what she had to sell 20 for. So once you figure out, like I said, your style and so forth, you will want to play around with this positioning map and figure out where you want to be. And then do some research. Where are your competitors? Who else is selling furniture, whether it's in a store in Snohomish, or if it's on Marketplace, or go on to Etsy and you can go and say, well, shop locally, find out who else is selling and find out how you compare to them, what's similar in your style and your pricing, and location and all of those things. And then find your niche, find what makes you, put your foot down on that and claim that as your own and then run with it. So make sure you spend the time to actually think through this stuff. Okay. We are now at the last P, which is promotion. So if you haven't, again, take your worksheet and fill in as you work through these steps and think about your strategy. Fill that in so that you are really, really intentional about each one of your products. Okay, so now on to promotions. So how will you market to your ideal customer? So this is the fun part. This is when we are creatives. This is the part that I live for, although I do like being a data geek sometimes. This is the fun part. This is where we thrive because we are creatives, and this is creative. So there are so many things we can do these days. Again, when I was back in college, we were thinking about direct mail and billboards and transit advertising and radio and TV, and like none of that. That was all like big business. So what did the small business do? Like we would list something in the white pages or the yellow pages. And I remember getting the advice, like name your company something that starts with A, because then you will be at the beginning of the yellow pages or the beginning of and like, oh my God, thank God we don't have to do that anymore, because we can be so, we can niche down so much and really find our ideal through social media marketing and all of the other great ideas that we have. So some of the things we can do. If you have a physical location or an online location, that is one of the first decisions you're going to want to make. And that kind of goes back to your product as well. And so make that decision between virtual and physical location, and then that will, thank you so much. I got water. That's going to determine your strategy. And for sales, again, think about, seasonality. You're going to think about seasonality. You're going to think about Pinterest. If you get on Pinterest, that is going to be hands down one of the best things you're going to be able to do for your business. If you don't have a Pinterest business account, get one. Even if you don't post, which if you're a creative and you're not posting on Pinterest, you need to be doing that. Not only for your own inspiration, but to get your stuff out there. And again, that is a whole other course. There are courses that do this. There are schedulers for Pinterest. And one of the things, if nothing else, their analytics, emails that you get on trends and is gold. It's absolute gold. And they will tell you seasonality wise, if you want to be marketing for your Christmas audience, you need to be doing it. You need to be dropping your first email or your first ad in August. And then like it will give you step by step everything that you need to market seasonally. It just like if you are into marketing data at all, it is awesome. So get on Pinterest, get a business account, and then you will start getting those emails. And then you can tailor any sales stuff to that. Ads, again, the disclaimer, we can go very, very, very deep in any one of these topics. And if there's something you want to go deep on, please let us know. So ads, creating sales funnels, again, finding out, it is amazing what we can do even just on Facebook and Instagram to really niche down who is going to see your ads. And, you know, Facebook, one of the good and bad things is that they're constantly changing their algorithm. Just last month, they decided to change their algorithm to give more time and energy to smaller pages. So if your page on Facebook has less than 100,000 followers, they are doing more to put you in front of people. So if you noticed your algorithm change, you started seeing all these like suggested pages, that is why. If you are a small business owner, you're like, yes. So you can target down to just any specific demographic you want in Facebook. So make sure you get and this is very, very important. I know a lot of people who start out marketing their furniture or whatever is on their personal page. You can get really much and you can get in trouble for that. So take the time to set up a business page. The first thing you do once you set that up, go to your personal page and ask all your friends and family to follow you. Once you get past 100 followers, and then the algorithm will start picking you up and you're on your way. Again, there are whole courses for this, which I can turn you on to if you want to. One of the best things you can do, but yet one of the hardest things to do for most people is to get on social media and do a live. That's because in this day and age, we are all concerned about what we look like, what we sound like. Am I going to look dumb? Are people going to laugh at me? And I heard the success story yesterday or 2 days ago from Dion. She did this back in, I think, 2018 when lives were, you know, a brand new thing. She did 100 lives in 100 days. Like that girl, she even did it when she had COVID. And, but what that did, one, it got her noticed. It gave her a cult following, which now has launched her into a hugely successful furniture and art empire. So it paid off in spades. It also gave her the confidence and practice to be live in front of people. And I know it is so hard to do that, but I promise you, the more you do it, the better at it you will get and your confidence will improve. And by no time you will be doing it like this and you won't even know. I know for me, when I started my YouTube channel, I hated it. I hate seeing myself on camera. I hate hearing myself even more. But the more I did it and the more I got into editing my video, like it just became second skin to me. And now I just don't care. So trust me, from one introvert to another, you will get over it, but it's one of the best things you can do. You can also go to shows. You can go to home shows. You can go to junk shows. You can go to craft fairs. And there are so many shows in your local area. And that is another really, really, really great way to get you out in front of your ideal customer and get your product out there. Now, it is a lot of work. I won't lie to you. Do the math before you jump in, like figure out how much it's going to cost to rent a truck, figure out what your entry fee is, like what your supplies are, what you think you're going to make, talk to other people who have done a show at the same show before or done a booth at the same show before. Just so that you don't put so much work into it and then walk away feeling disappointed. So just make sure you do your prep work. I have a dear friend who does TV spots, meaning she goes on like King 5 and Como and some of the day shows and does spreads, or like, this week's craft of the week, or, find that is super fun to do again. If you don't mind being on camera, that is really, really fun to do, and another great way to get your name out there. I think I talked a little bit about samples for your interior design clients. And staging, let's just talk about that really, really quick. So regardless of if you are doing this virtually, you have a website, you have to stage your furniture well. So you put all of this time, you've taken courses, you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into a piece, whether it's a piece of art or a piece of furniture, and then you just take a picture of it and there's a laundry basket in the corner, or the lighting is bad, or it's not, there's nothing on top and it's like sideways and wonky. And do you think that's going to sell? No. And if it does, you think you're going to get the price for it that you want, that it deserves? And my answer for you is always going to be no. If you stage it, when you go to a department store or the furniture store, pay attention to how each furniture piece is staged. It usually will have 3 pieces. Things are staged in 3s or an odd number, because that is what is most ideal to your eye. So you will have a lamp, you will have maybe a stack of books, you will have something, over here. And there's a whole art and science to staging, which, lucky for you, we are going to be doing. We have a special course. So if you go to Repair Bank, there is going to be a course that I have one of my dear friends and staging expert for furniture artists is going to be teaching. So her name is Judy Whalen. She owns Thrive Furniture Staging. She has a paid group, which is worth its weight in gold. You charge, I think, 10 or 12 bucks a month, and you submit your digital picture, and she will like do her magic and tell you what to do. You'll rephotograph it, and she will teach you everything you need to know about lighting, staging, backgrounds. I think she's doing something with AI now, because now AI can do everything for us without it looking fake. So I just really, really encourage you, if you're going to put all the effort into creating a beautiful piece, and then additional effort and money and time into marketing, you want to make sure that you are putting the best foot forward to sell your piece for the most amount of money, especially if you have a website or you're doing something on Etsy. The stakes and the bar is raised a lot higher there. So you just want to make sure you're looking like the professional that you are. So, and then there are another million ways under the sun to get creative, and but those are some of the highlights of ways that you will want to stage. So again, just take a step back, look at what your product is, where you're selling it, who your ideal customer is, and then tailor that promotional strategy to that particular person, that particular product, and use that worksheet that I gave you to hone your strategy. And then I go back to my strategy every 6 months, maybe a year, check in, like, how are things doing? How did I do with this market segment? Is this one underperforming? Is it something I'm doing? Is it the industry? I'll talk to other furniture painters, and generally this crowd is very, very supportive of each other, because every piece of furniture we do is unique. We're not really competing with each other. We are supporting each other. So find somebody else, find me, find somebody else at the Repair Bank to be your buddy, and find out what they're doing and what's working for them and what's not, and then tweak your strategy. So that is the overall, that's your high level marketing strategy for furniture. if I think I just went over this again, just think through the 5 Ps. Start with a few products. I, in full transparency, have made the mistake of wanting to do all the things all at once because it's just so fun. I have a hard time saying no to things. I'm going to tell my earlier business self, find 1 to 3 things that you are a rock star at, do them well, hone them, tweak them, get it down like you're doing it in your sleep, and then hand some of that off to somebody else to do, like an assistant, and then move on to your next strategy or your next product, and then pour all of your effort into that. And maybe your 4th or your 5th or your 6th product, get those down and then move on. So, and most of all, have fun. We are entrepreneurs and soulpreneurs because this is what feeds our soul, but it is also lonely work. So ask for help, do this in community, and get up every morning. And if you have something that's not gone the way you want to, or you are feeling down, just try again. That is what is fun for me. It's the constantly changing environment. I like change. It excites me. And I get bored with routine and rote things. So having things change and having to change what I'm doing and learn new things is always an adventure for me. So with that, if there are any questions, I'm just going to leave it open for maybe 30 seconds or so. And if not, you can always email me. I can be found. I can be found at all the socials at Revive Heart and Home. That's REVIVE, Heart and Home. I am also at Heidi Marsh Fine Art. It's another product that I do. And you can email me at revivebyheidi@gmail.com. So if there are no further questions, I will end the session. I think we're just a few minutes early, but I hope this has been helpful. And again, if there's anything I can help with, the Repair Bank can do to help support you in your efforts in this industry, please let us know. We are happy to help. So thank you and have a good night. And I will start sharing at this point and say good night. All right. Bye, everyone.